Welcome to Old Iron Machine Works. This video will be a little different. It'll be updating some fan assemblies. These fan assemblies are on some Universal compressors that are made in Germany, and they supply the run gas to natural gas engines at landfills. And even though I'm a huge fan of Loctite, in this particular application, they're using the Loctite sleeve retainer for keeping everything together, for keeping the bearings in the position they want them, for keeping the shaft where they want on the bearings. Unfortunately, if the Loctite ever gives way, then they have problems, and they're a very expensive unit. As you can see here, they do not have any type of interference fit. The bearings are loose on the shaft, and they're also loose in the housing, which is not good. By the time I'm done, I'll have a snap ring on the end of the shaft right there that'll lock everything together. There'll be two other snap rings inside this housing, one right here and one on the other nose piece, to where the bearings will just slide in. They'll still lock tight in, but they'll slide up against the snap ring. And then by the time you put the shaft in and you put the snap ring on the end of the shaft, everything will be locked into place. And you would have to have one of the snap rings fail to ever have a problem. And then the Loctite will just kind of keep stuff from ever spinning. Just this assembly here was changed out last year, and I believe the cost just for what you see right there was about $1,200. So needless to say, the customer every year wants to go through service, put new bearings in them, and also update and put some snap rings in. Whoever designed this setup, I don't know. I don't know if they thought it was a good idea or what, but I can't think of too many times I've ever seen stuff just depend on Loctite alone for holding stuff together. And that's what you had there. You would just put Loctite on it, glue it together, slide it in the housing, glue it together, let the Loctite kind of cure up, and that was it. And just kind of unacceptable for me. Here I'm just kind of setting the depths for my for the cutter to cut the snap ring groove. Basically, I want the bearing flush with the outside of this little hub. So with the paper, you can see, you know, that the paper is about 3/1000 thick. So once I touched up on the paper, I basically cranked it in the thickness of the cutter, then basically the thickness of the bearing, and then I believe I went in about 60,000 groove depth. Now, one of the reasons also they want to service them every year, they used to just run the heck out of them, and they had a couple where they lost the bearings and it messed up the hubs. I will be able to salvage them. I'll machine new shafts, which will be larger diameter, and I'll be able to run larger bearings in the hub. Here you can see the type of fit that they have with the bearings, you know, where there's nothing nothing snug about it, just kind of slides in and out. And here I'm putting a new snap ring in. Now it has a nice area for the bearing to fit up tight against. Here everything's just getting kind of dummied up, just assembled dry. Final assembly, everything was Loctited in place. Here I'm using probably my favorite depth indicators made by Ames. Bought this thing Southern California at a flea market probably 25-30 years ago, and use it on a regular basis. Just measuring off the end of the shaft to determine where the snap ring's going to go. Now this is one of the huge pluses on having a removable top jaws. There's a shoulder on the shaft, and in order to get the shaft in the chuck and clamped up, I was able to take the top jaws off and then be able to grab it. Otherwise, with the top jaws, it was just too long and the shaft wouldn't stick out enough to machine it. And here's the assembly all Loctited all together, all the snap rings in place, ready for paint. And here we're at location at the landfill at Half Moon Bay. They have 6 big Jenbacher engines. So far out of the 6, I've completed 3 of the gearboxes that go between the engine and the generator, and I'm finishing up the 4th right now to swap it out. I'll be doing gearboxes for quite a while. Here are the universal compressors that the fans are on. The fans are on the back side, and then they just blow air across the cylinder. I rebuilt both those compressors, not the Quincy's, but those universals a couple years ago. They're running the gearboxes, which you can see right there between the engine and the generator. The engines are running about 1500 RPM, and they want to step up and run the generators at about 1800 RPM. I guess I should point out what they're doing is those engines are burning the natural gas from the landfill and basically convert it to electricity, which in return they're selling the electricity. Here's the Ames indicator I mentioned earlier that I bought probably 25-30 years ago. I was down visiting my uncle in Southern California and went to a flea market and found it. Don't remember what I paid for it, but it's been almost an everyday user for me. Well, recently on eBay, I came across another one, and I can't say that I've seen any other ones out there. So when I seen it, the pictures looked great. It was a buy it now. I don't remember what I gave. It didn't seem like that much, but it was just awesome shape. You can see just a little bit of junk from sitting. I don't even know how many times it was taken out of the case, and just a little bit of cleaning up. And this will be this one. I keep the other one at work, so that will be for my shop here at home. The guy had his name on the box, just in like a permanent marker. So I just used the brake clean just for removing his name off the box, and I just wrote my name on the inside of it. I don't use brake clean on the indicators themselves. And this is after a little bit of cleaning up. A couple drops of oil on the plunger and clean up real nice. One of the many jobs that they're really quick reading on. These are some Gemini Concentric style valves, which I got to go check the depth where the springs go. You know, make sure after I machine the seats that the depths are all correct. And it's just a really quick, gives me a really quick, nice measurement. Here we have an aerial tandem, second, third stage pistons, and when we order rings, I got to go in there, measure the grooves, check the depths, make sure, especially if I go with a rider band combo style ring, and it just gives a really nice, quick, and accurate measurement. I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch the video, and thank you to my new subscribers. I really appreciate it, and comments and thumbs up are always appreciated very much. Thanks for watching.